What's up guys, my name is Nuri and welcome to HITC Football. Today we're looking at the most expensive footballers of all time. But it's gonna happen with a twist because we're looking at the combined transfer fee. So all the transfer fees a player has accumulated throughout his career. So not only one transfer. So Neymar is not on top. So anyways, let's get right into the video and see who makes up the top 10 most expensive players of all time. Let's go. Starting off at number 10, and this is maybe a player that you wouldn't expect to feature here, but it's Gonzalo Higuain. The player started off his career at River Plate in Argentina before moving to Real Madrid, where actually he had quite an impressive spell there. He scored 107 goals in 190 games, which is pretty good, but obviously with the emergence of Cristiano Ronaldo and Benzema, there was no spot for him anymore. And that's when Napoli signed him in 2013, and in 3 years at Napoli, he scored 71 goals in 104 games before Juventus snatched him up for more than 90 million, which gave him the boost to enter the top 10 of this list. Higuain also had a pretty impressive career at the Argentinian national team, playing 75 times for his country and scoring 31 times. And if you're wondering, Higuain is still playing over in the MLS for David Beckham's side, Inter Miami. And in number 9 we have Zlatan Ibrahimovic with 10 million more than number 10 Higuain at 169 million euros. Zlatan made 7 transfers in his entire career, obviously playing for the likes of Ajax, Inter, Juventus, Barcelona, AC Milan twice and PSG. And as we know, the old man who turned 40 this year is still going strong over in Italy with AC Milan, and he just won the Scudetto after coming back to the club almost 10 years after he departed the club. And Zlatan is just a different beast, scoring everywhere where he's been in his life, but he scored the most goals over at PSG, scoring 113 goals in 122 appearances in just 4 years at the club. And the biggest fee that had ever been paid for Zlatan was almost 70 million in 2009 when Zlatan joined Barcelona from Inter. And it's safe to say that this transfer didn't necessarily work out for Zlatan. He still performed pretty well, obviously in a very good team Barcelona at the time, scoring 16 goals in 29 games, but he had some issues with Guardiola. That's why he moved on to AC Milan just a year later. And in number 8 we have Ousmane Dembele, and this is a pretty painful one for Barcelona fans, so look away. Ousmane Dembele only made 2 transfers in his entire life, but already accumulated 175 million in paid transfer fees throughout his career. A great season over in Germany with Dortmund in the 17-18 season convinced Barcelona to spend more than 140 million euros for the player. And the other transfer he made was from Stade Rennes to Dortmund, obviously, where the club paid 35 million for the player. And in hindsight, this has not been good business for Barcelona, because for years the guy's been struggling with injuries, didn't play a lot of games. This season he finally came to his own, but unfortunately his current market value is just a shadow of what it used to be. His highest market value was in 2019 at 120 million, but now it's just 30 million, and he will depart the club on a free as no new contract has been agreed as of yet. And to my surprise, Dembele is already 25, and does he belong in this list? I don't know. I don't think he's worth that much money, but the good thing is that his next club doesn't have to pay a transfer fee for this guy, so he will not rise in the list. Moving on to number 7 with Angel Di Maria, who's coming in at 179 million euros. The Argentinian player made 4 transfers in his entire career, obviously going from Rosario to Benfica, from Benfica to Real Madrid, from Real Madrid to Manchester United, and his last transfer as of yet from Manchester United to PSG. But soon he will go to another club, and Juventus is probably his next destination after he left PSG on a free. And the highest fee ever paid for Angel Di Maria was 75 million when he moved from Real Madrid to Manchester United in 2014, and this was not a good transfer. 1 season, 27 appearances and only 3 goals was not worth the money for Manchester United. Fortunately for Manchester United, they were able to recuperate a large sum of this fee as PSG paid 63 million euros for the player in 2015. And where Di Maria flopped in England, he flourished in France, almost playing 200 games for the club, scoring 56 times. And this summer, Di Maria will leave the Parc des Princes with his head held high as he had a great tenure over in Paris. And in number 6 we have Philippe Coutinho coming in at 180 million, completing 5 transfers in his entire career, with obviously the last being his transfer from Barcelona to Aston Villa. The deal has recently been made permanent for 20 million, and that is a far cry of the 135 million Barcelona paid Liverpool in 2018. And that transfer is the main reason why Coutinho comes in at number 6. After 1.5 seasons at Barcelona, Coutinho went out on loan to Bayern Munich, where he scored 8 times in 23, and at times he looked like the player he was at Liverpool, but it was not enough for the Munich outfit to make the transfer permanent. After a season of not getting a lot of game time at Barcelona, Coutinho finally went out on loan to Aston Villa, where he did pretty well, scoring 5 times in 19 games. And the short stint he had this season convinced Aston Villa to make the transfer permanent for 20 million. And at 29 years of age, hopefully Coutinho can get back to his best, but I'm sure that he's not going to rise a lot on this list because his current transfer value is only 20 million, and that's a far cry from the 150 million that was his highest market value back in 2018. And things are looking good for Coutinho because Aston Villa has an exciting team and possibly they could enter the top 10 next season. And in number 5 we have Antoine Griezmann, making 3 transfers in his entire career with a combined transfer fee of 184 million euros. Griezmann broke through in Spain with Real Sociedad before Atletico Madrid snatched him up at 54 million euros. And for Atletico Madrid and Griezmann, this was a great transfer because in 180 games he scored 94 times for the club. But at one point Griezmann wanted to move on from Atletico Madrid and he went to one of their rivals in Barcelona in 2019 for a very hefty fee of 120 million. And Griezmann was never really adored by the fans because 1 year prior to moving to Barcelona he had this whole saga where he was going to move or was going to stay at Atletico Madrid, and after a very long boring story he decided that he wanted to stay at Atletico Madrid, and the Barcelona fans didn't like it. So when Griezmann did make the switch a year after, the Barca fans didn't necessarily like him immediately, and that never really changed. In an attack of Messi, Suarez and Griezmann, Griezmann often played out of position and never looked entirely comfortable in Barcelona. The French striker scored 22 times in 74 games as he never really made an impression for the Catalan side. And last summer he gave up on his Barcelona career, moving back to Atletico Madrid on loan, where he only scored 3 goals in 26 appearances, so it's safe to say that so far his return hasn't necessarily worked out. And just outside of the top 3 in number 4 we have Alvaro Morata at 189 million euros. In his early days Morata was a very impressive player, scoring 45 times in just 83 appearances for Real Madrid's reserve team. After his performances for the reserve team, he finally became a permanent addition to Real Madrid's squad. But obviously with an attack of Bale, Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo there was not a lot of room for Alvaro Morata. So after impressing with not a lot of game time, Juventus gave him the opportunity, signing the player for 30 million euros. Scoring 15 times in 64 games, even helping Juventus go far in the Champions League. But Real Madrid put a clause in his contract that they were able to buy him back for 30 million euros, and after 2 years that is exactly what they did. And this definitely worked out for Real Madrid because that season they won La Liga and they won the Champions League, and Alvaro Morata was lethal, scoring 15 times in only 26 appearances. And this was enough to convince Chelsea to pay 66 million for the player. And in 2019 he made a transfer to Atletico Madrid, where he didn't stay for a long time before he went back to Juventus. But so far in his career Alvaro Morata has never been one of the most lethal strikers in the world, so for me it's pretty surprising that he's in 4th in this list. And in number 3 we obviously have Cristiano Ronaldo, and during his career 4 clubs paid a combined fee of 245 million. And undoubtedly Cristiano Ronaldo deserves to make this list because this guy has absolutely been insane throughout his entire career, and at 37 years of age he's still going strong in the Premier League for Manchester United. Ronaldo obviously started his career at Sporting Clube de Portugal before moving to Manchester United in 2003, where he scored 84 goals in 169 games. But in 2009 Manchester United received 94 million from Real Madrid and he stayed there for 9 years, scoring 450 goals in 138 games, more than a goal per game in 9 years for one of the biggest clubs in the world. That is absolutely insane. And what's even more insane for me is that at 33 years of age, Real Madrid received more than they initially paid for Ronaldo, receiving 170 million euros from Juventus in 2018. And at Juventus, Ronaldo kept up his goal scoring record, scoring 81 goals in 98 games, before moving to Manchester United last summer for a fee of 15 million, where he's also done pretty well for himself, scoring 18 times in 30 games. And in second we have Neymar at 310 million in combined fees. And Neymar is the only player, together with Dembele in this list, that only made 2 transfers, but this shows that only one massive fee is enough to enter the top 10. And talking about massive fees, in 2017 PSG paid Barcelona a record-breaking 222 million euros for Neymar. And since 2017 Neymar played 92 times for PSG, scoring 69 times, and this could have been more because in recent years Neymar struggled a lot with injuries. But before making a switch to PSG, Neymar played for Barcelona during 2013 and 2017, where he was part of one of the most exciting exciting front three together with Messi and Suarez. And luckily for Barcelona, this transfer worked out because they paid 88 million to Santos in 2013 to get Neymar to the club. And this year Neymar turned 30, so it's interesting to see if the Brazilian player will make another transfer and possibly rise on this list. Moving on to top spot, and it's obviously going to be Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku is still only 29, but it seems like he has been around for ages. And the Belgian striker has scored goals everywhere he played, also becoming the record goal scorer for his country with 68 goals in 101 appearances. And during his career, Lukaku made 6 transfers, playing for clubs like Anderlecht, Chelsea, Everton, Manchester United, Inter Milan, and obviously again Chelsea. And we also obviously have to mention his loan stint at West Brom, but the 3 transfers after leaving Everton in 2017 have been the most expensive for the 3 clubs that signed him. His move from Everton to Manchester United in 2017 cost a whopping 84.7 million, but Lukaku never was the perfect striker for Manchester United. That's why in 2019 he left Manchester United for Inter for 74 million, where he had 2 amazing seasons, scoring 47 times in 72 games. And in his 2 seasons at Inter, he became champions of Serie A and he reached the final of the Europa League. And after his great performances, Chelsea came calling and they wanted to pay 130 million euros for the player. And so far his return to Chelsea hasn't been a success. He only scored 8 goals in 26 appearances, and this doesn't look like a happy reunion so far. So guys, that's it. Those are the most expensive players of all time. But do you think these players are worth it? Because in my opinion, there are a few shady ones in there who should not make the list, but obviously players like Ronaldo definitely should make the list. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace!